Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains June 5th through the 11th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined now by University of Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
We are doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. You know, a lot of people want to know about the deal with Otro Capital, and you know a lot of people, when they hear private equity, get shivers up and down their spine. I'll just admit my bias. Worked at a TV station owned by private equity, and it was a disconcerting experience at best. How much money are they guaranteed? Because a lot of people go to that right away and just think they're going to get their money. This isn't going to help the U win games, which is what Ute fans want to see. How is this going to work? How much money are they guaranteed? How much money are you projecting you're going to generate for the U that you can put back into supporting programs and building teams and programs and winning games?
Well, at least I know where you stand.
Yeah.
I forget, you guys start at 6, so you're an hour ahead of me in waking up. But let me just say this. We're excited about this deal. We've been working on it for 3 years. It's something that, Taylor Randall, the president here, and his team, and myself and my team, 3 years ago, trying to predict this business, which is always difficult. But the one thing we knew was that things were going to get a lot more expensive with payroll coming. We also knew that with a sold-out football stadium, record fundraising, a lot of other things that were going on, we just weren't able to catch that mark that we wanted to hit. So listening to a lot of presentations in the Big 12, a lot of different private equity firms came through. It became clear to me that wasn't a model in terms of just having money to get capital. We can go out and get loans for a lot cheaper than that. But what we wanted to do was to get better in our business. And so what we've done here is we found a company that, yes, is certainly private equity is a part of it, but they're also operators, which is a big difference from a lot of different places that have experienced private equity. We're creating a company, Crimson Brand Partners, is going to eventually have about 60 to 70 people in it. All our revenue operators from athletics, the ones that are interviewing with them now, the ones that are coming in are going to create a new company for us. It's going to be greatly helpful. Yes, there's upfront capital that's coming into us, but the most important thing that I'm focused on is how we can obviously figure out the different ways to combine the university's overall corporate program along with licensing, concessions, all the things that really weren't a part of athletics, now all coming together with our revenue streams and our revenue staff. And the outcome here is that we compete at the top level. We keep all our sports. We have a strong NIL program, and we just get better. I'm not going to get into the financial details of all of it. I know that's folks want to hear that, but rest assured, we spent a lot of time negotiating this, looking at the value, and at the end of the day, we've created an asset for our revenue here in the new company, and we'll be able to monetize that going forward.
The Crimson Brand Partners, I think, is the title, as you said, and you're the chairman. Matt Webb is the CEO, and he'll be in charge of the day-to-day operations. How does that work in terms of the chairman versus the CEO and just how the structure is and how it comes to pass that things get done?
Matt's terrific. He joins us from the New Orleans Saints and the Pelicans, where he ran their customer relations and revenue departments. Comes here with a lot of experience, just a tremendous young man. He'll lead that team. The vice presidents are being hired now. Some are already here, coming from the Arizona Cardinals, coming from the Kansas City Royals. Just a really interesting and experienced group. Also, many of them have experience in college, too. So, not unlike any of my directors that we meet with now, Matt and I will meet regularly and going over all the future plans. I mean, a lot of what I want, what the department wants, what President Randall wants will be incorporated into what they're doing along the way. But what I love to see is they're coming in with just a deep breadth of experience, from outside areas, which I think will help us. And they're going to be able to really, I think the big thing here is just combining all the assets of the university into packages for corporate donors going forward. And I think that's something that corporate partners have really wanted. So in terms of how it works, if there is a conflict, and I don't anticipate there will be, let's say there's a sponsor that we don't want to work with for whatever reason, obviously university has governance rights over the situation, and we would manage that if it gets to the board level. But he and I will work very closely together.
What are these other assets around the university that you want to combine with? How would average fans see that when they come to the campus on a game day? How would that have an impact? What would they see and notice?
I think, each company is going to be able to want different things. But the one thing that we just haven't been able to do, and this is really probably at many campuses, is there's a lot of parts of this university. When this university's on a full school day, I think we're one of the biggest cities in outside of Salt Lake. When we are all here together, there's so much happening here, and the depth and breadth that corporate partnerships want to have and corporate partners want to have is what they're going to be creating. So yes, signs and radio ads and all the great things that you get in athletic sponsorship can be deepened by other opportunities at the university. So that's what we're looking to create going forward. President Randall has been great in looking at that path, and I think that's something that's going to be really helpful. As far as the fans, obviously what we want to do is improve the experiences too. I mean, we've got a basketball arena that's obviously being addressed. We're looking at different opportunities on that going forward, but we want to be great in the way we present the show, the entertainment part of it. I thought we made some strides when we got into conference last year, but some of these folks are coming in that have been a big part of those kind of shows going forward. So we want to really add more for the fans. In terms of, prices, I know people go right up and say everything's going to be more expensive. Well, obviously football tickets have gone up every year, for a long time here. We always have to be really smart about that. We've got to be careful with the market. We had another 95+% renewal in football, and we can't take that for granted. We have to always continue to treat our fans in the best possible way. So we'll be very communicative about this. DJ, I would say in your opening comments about private equity, I agree. The first reaction is not a good one. So it's going to be our responsibility to really get these guys out and about and talk about what they're planning on doing.
So much about it is NIL. Your former coach said it as it was just getting started. We're going to see a time where top 25 mirrors the NIL, and many coaches have just added to that, and it's obvious it's so important. How does this affect and help NIL?
Well, that's a big part of it. Thanks for the question. I mean, first of all, they're going to take over the funding of our rev share. That's part of their responsibility. Now the money will come here, and we'll distribute it the way I see fit, our GM see fit, and our coaches see fit. But the other piece of that, they will have an NIL staff members in the part of the organization of Crimson Brand Partners. And my expectation, and something we've talked a lot about, is our student athletes appear in these deals, and they're authentic, and allows us to get more branding of our athletes, across the city and the valley in general, perhaps the state. So that's something that we really want to do. These guys are experts in this. They've worked with a lot of NFL and NBA players and helping them with different deals. So we're working with a group that spent a lot more time in the pro space. So I think that they're going to really help us in a lot of different ways. We've had massive improvements this last year in our structure of NIL and the things we've been able to do, and I think this is only going to add more to that going forward.
As far as structure, I had a manager tell me once, you're talking about sales staff and adding people and subtracting people, all that, and he said, it can never be big enough. He said there's 25,000 licensed businesses just in Salt Lake County. None of the surrounding counties, just Salt Lake County. He says, and you get sales staffs in the media, and you could have 6, 8, a dozen people on a team. 20 would be huge. And he said, even if they're knocking on 3 doors a day, which is an unsustainable pace, 60 in a month, like you can't knock on all these doors. How big, as you bring in another company, how big are they? How many doors can they help you knock on? Because it does seem like there's a lot of business out there, but there's only so many hours in a day to try and contact all these people and connect them to your product.
Well, I think one of the things that we have to do a better job at is getting deeper relationships with these sponsors. Sometimes it's not so much about the quantity of doors you knock on, but the quality of the doors that open. Yeah. And what kind of sponsor do you want to have? It doesn't. I don't want to say less means more, but in the case of corporate partnerships, sometimes it can be that way. And I think now we're going to open up the available assets in a different and more profound way. That I think it gives us a better chance. And certainly, as you look at our friends, down with Ryan's team down there, I mean, they've got some they don't have a ton of sponsors, but they have a lot of quality sponsors. And that's something that we're really aiming to do. High-level, deep partners that are invested in the program and a win-win relationship for each. And I think we've got a lot of those here, and many of them we're really, really proud of. I just think we need to do more, and I think that this system allows us to do that.
Talk of guys and the reduction of workforce, and when I say guys, it's gender neutral, obviously. I'm just wondering how many positions do you think are going to be eliminated from existing employees?
So we moved, about 16 of these positions that are currently in the athletic department. Those positions are moving into Crimson Brand Partners because those are our revenue producers. Those are our brand enhancers. Those are the folks that are involved with some type of revenue generation outside of philanthropy. Philanthropy will stay with the athletic department. So those people have the opportunity to interview with the new company, and that's the process that's undergoing now. We have a lot of great people, and I suspect many, if not most, will be a part of Crimson Brand Partners going forward.
Do you think other schools are going to do this? Because certainly one of the hits the U has taken here is they're doing it. It's because they're desperate. Nobody else is doing this. It isn't a great idea. Blah blah blah. You know the deal.
I mean,
are other schools?
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Okay. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't agree with that. I don't think that's the feeling. I think maybe that's what you feel, but I don't feel that is what we're hearing. I think people are looking at this as an innovative approach that we've been working on for 3 years. Doing nothing was not going to work, right? I will say that come January, when everyone's reporting how much it costs with the first year of revenue share going on, they're going to be looking at the schools that decided, you know what, we got to be bold, we got to be different, we got to figure something out that works for us, and that's what Taylor Randall and his staff and all of us here were able to do. I've probably received no less than 30 to 40 phone calls from presidents and ADs asking how we structured this. How is it that you can get better? Talk to me how you're going to do that. So I don't think we've taken a lot of arrows. I know we certainly have taken some, but I would say it's the opposite. I think a lot of people have been impressed at what we're trying to do, and I think it's our job to go out and try to make sure people understand that. And now that we've signed it and now that people are arriving, that's what we're going to do.
During this 3-year process, as you say, how many other companies did you research, investigate, interview? I don't know exactly what would be the right word, but I think you get the point.
Talked to a lot of companies, and a lot of them didn't have the kind of operational expertise that Otro had. It was formed by guys that were operators. One was the senior vice president for Jerry Jones and helped build the stadium there. He then went to the Cleveland Browns, became the president, and he hired some people at the Cleveland Browns. And then this group kind of all came together and were able to form a company because I think they saw that their operating experience along with equity could really help companies. And we studied the ones they work with. We talked to people that were around them, and we felt that these guys were a great fit. And then we got to know them, right? When you're learning and listening and going through the process that we went through for so long. I went to New York multiple times. They've been out here multiple times. You just realize that these guys are a great fit. And I think, again, once people in the community get to realize who they are and what we're all trying to do here is make the Utes, sustain the greatness that we've been able to do, I think people will understand why we did this. But we talked to a lot, PK, and I think these guys really show that this is the kind of group we want to partner with.
Facilities are are just so important. And PK and I were doing the show in the Delta Center when it was remodeled the first time, and it's going to go in another one now. And I'm sure you've probably had conversations with people around Florida. The only reason you invest $1.45 billion in a stadium remodel at the Swamp is how much money you're going to generate down the road. They must be thinking it's going to be transformative. How important is the Huntsman Center remodel to what you're doing, and how involved will Otro Capital be in that? Because it does seem like there's a lot of potential to be unlocked there.
Yeah, the Huntsman Center you're exactly right. I mean, it's historical. It's incredible, the moments that we've been in there, but its time is getting to that place where it doesn't work for everyone that comes in there. And so where we are in that process right now is an RFP went out from the university about 6 weeks ago, looking for kind of a design team to help us do more feasibility work. Because once the decision was made, let's really make all our efforts into putting it in the same place, really recognizing that a remodel in there could be the best path. We want this group to come in and really take a hard look. Can we remodel, or do we need to rebuild? And that group is underway. Populous received that work, and they are, and VCBO, who's a local firm, they are working together right now as we speak, looking at that in a really, really deep way, from deep engineering all the way through different aspects of the building. Once we have that, the university will get back together and we'll start going forward. As far as Otro being involved with that, that's not part of any contractual obligations. We know that these guys are experts. They've done a lot of buildings, and so they'll be really helpful in those conversations, but they're not contractually involved in that project as we sit here today. But I know they'll be helpful.
The story of the day also, obviously, is the Texas Tech Brendan Sorsby thing, and I always thought deep down there was no way he was going to play, and I was hoping that the thing would get done as soon as possible, so when we go down to Texas here in a couple of weeks, we're not hijacked. We can actually talk football rather than all this other stuff. So from your perspective, I would imagine you viewed it as, at least I did, as a possible headache, and I would think that you're satisfied now that this headache is gone.
Well, I think the whole week was just really disheartening, to be candid. I thought from the moment, the moment that I could even go back further when Texas Tech sent the letter out saying they were going to support, him in the appeals process, was a head scratcher for me, on something that is a line that should never be crossed. There's a lot of things we can argue about outside the lines, and we certainly have been doing that as an industry for years now. But within the lines, performance-enhancing drugs or gambling certainly come to mind. So I think from that moment on, I think where I was just really thrown was when the judge ruled the way he did. Never thought in any kind of way that would happen. And so, yeah, it's been a tough week for the league. There's no question. I saw the news last night. I was at an event when it happened. I read it like everybody else. I don't have a lot of details. I really appreciate Brett Yormark for his leadership on this, his clear stance on this, and keeping us very much informed. And I'm sure we'll have another call here shortly to talk it all through. But there's still a couple scars, I think, from the week that we all need to talk about, kind of what happened and review it. But from a standpoint of him not taking the field, I think that's really important. And again, it's, I wish the very best for the young man, and he gets the help he needs. And I kind of felt like that argument would act like the rest of us didn't feel that way in the industry. Of course we did. So anyway, very disappointing, very disheartening, but I'm glad that it seems to be a resolution.
Is the lesson from this that the NCAA has a monopoly and the courts are going to treat their decisions one way, but none of those antitrust issues impact the league? And if the league has rules and wants to enforce them, the courts are going to handle that another way? Is it going to force the leagues to step up and take a heavier hand instead of deferring to the NCAA?
It's really an interesting point, something I was thinking about last night. Obviously I was really we all saw the lawsuit that dropped against the Texas AG yesterday morning. Brilliantly written in a lot of different ways. Don't know if that led to what happened yesterday, but one can perhaps assume, but I don't know. But the one thing that has been interesting is, for the most part, the NCAA has been winning the court cases when we talk about eligibility. Now, not everyone. There's been some high profile in the Pavia case and certainly the Sorsby case, but there's a lot you don't hear about that the NCAA has been winning. So that one was a shocker. I think they lost another one last week where the judge cited the Sorsby case. So there was damage in this, But, yeah, the courts have always kind of claimed that, outside of in your conference, you could, have some antitrust protection and you can enforce the rules. So that's something to learn from. Whether that's something that carries forward, we'll have to wait and see. Lastly, the other thing is Monumental Week, right? Thursday's the markup of the Save College Sports Act in the Senate. We'll see where that goes, and if it does pass the Senate, that'll be a big deal. And if it gets to the House, there'll be adjustments. But we've got some big moments ahead in terms of where this thing is all going in the next month or so. And if it does not go through now, we can all assume that Washington, D.C. will not be leaning in for many, many years to come if it doesn't pass now.
Well, Mark, we appreciate the time this morning. Thanks for joining us. I know a lot of Ute fans are curious where this is going, so thanks for coming out and talking to them.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys.
All right, there's Mark Harlan, University of Utah Athletic Director, joining us right here on The Zone. You have any immediate thoughts hearing all of that?
I appreciate the due diligence. I know Mark. I have a level of trust with Mark. I've conversed many times with the president. These are smart guys, I think, and I know Mark's taken a few shots. I understand that along the way, no doubt about it. It's a high-profile position, and plus you factor in emotion of the scoreboard, and people make mistakes. But I like the fact that it's been researched for 3 years. And, I get that the perception is, well, they have to do something. Okay, does that mean they're in an awfully bad spot and they're desperate? I'm not sure that I'm willing to go there. But at the same time, with these private equity firms, and you speak to it having been involved in it, with the television situation, and I know that the newspaper situation with the Tribune when the McCarthys were running it and it was family owned, and I met with Tom virtually every day when I was in the slot, which is the guy who's designing the sports section. There was a level of trust there that was as good as anything that I'd ever had in the business in my 23 years of daily newspapers, because I'm speaking to the man who owns the thing, and he took a personal interest. He was the first one who met me when I came to town. And that meant a lot to me that the family owned it. And anytime I see him around town, I make sure I say hello. And I enjoyed working with him. And then we know what happened. And then you basically had, I don't know if it was literally a private equity, but that's the way it felt. And it was all sorts of chaos upon the employees. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. You had it directly, and you can speak to it. We sort of had it there, and it was in flux. And, of course, the industry was going to take a hit later on anyway. We didn't know that to the extent. But I understand folks who want to have, and that's what I'm going to have, is a wait-and-see approach. I can't jump all in and say this is the greatest thing for the U of U. I want to see how it plays out over the next 3 to 5 years.
I certainly have scars from that.
Right.
And so I get the other people who have scars.
Right.
But I think the point Mark made that should give people hope if they don't want to, I mean, if you want to just go bang your head against the wall, go bang your head against the wall. And then maybe how it plays out, who the heck knows. But the point he made that I think should give people a little hope is after, the 3 years and talking to all the groups and finding a group where it's people who, whether it's the Saints or the Cowboys, whoever, like they have expertise in this area. And they've had successes in other markets. That, to me, provides a path forward, especially when he was talking about, I'm surprised the answer about the Huntsman Center, that they will give advice, but they're not super hands-on in that area. Because to me, for all the people who say there's not going to be enough money go around for all the pockets who are going to want to be filled with this deal, and that, the whole default in private equity is that they'll get paid and the university won't. But there is a lot of value to unlock, which means a lot of money to unlock, in redoing the Huntsman Center. Like, they don't have premium spaces in there. And this will go way beyond. Not yet. They will at the end of this remodel, whatever it is. But the seats on the floor, they could do more there. There was talk, I think there was something written a week ago about where they could immediately put in luxury seats where the media sits, right? But a remodel will go way beyond that. 20, 30, 40, 50 boxes. What will they decide to do? What will the market bear? They got to figure all that out. But there could be a lot of money. I mean, that was a gigantic amount of money that got unlocked in the Delta Center when the Millers redid it when we were in there. Now, this is Ryan Smith doing it again because of hockey, and there's more money to be unlocked there. And what the Millers did was so successful that when they bought the soccer team and haven't been around that stadium, I thought, well, they could do this, they could do that. They jumped right into it, PK. I mean, just bang, bang. There is real money to be unlocked. So I'm skeptical because of my own, bias. As you like to say, we all bring our history and our biases, right? So there is a level of skepticism I have because of that. But I've also got this level where the facilities can mean so much. Chris Hill talked about the football stadium being a game changer when they redid that about 97, 98. The south end zone has been really important when they just did that more recently. We've seen it with the Delta Center. We're seeing it at Real Salt Lake. I think the Huntsman Center, huge upside. Now they have to have a good enough team, They might even make money off the other events in there. Gymnastics in there, women's basketball, volleyball in there. Men's basketball would be the big payday. That's a huge opportunity. This could work. I don't think people should be like, it's private equity, there's no chance. Hey, it could go wrong. But there could be a lot of money into Huntsman Center to me just screams massive opportunity for the youth.
Well, I think that one of the things that caught my ear, what he said, was he was speaking of Ryan, I assume Ryan Smith, and he said they don't have a lot of sponsors, but they got deep relationships with the ones that they have. So that means we're still, to an extent, a small town. I mean, we don't have a PGA tournament here, right? Because there's not the corporate dollars. And so that leads me to think, well, the U had to do something because there isn't as big of a deal possibilities with corporations here, and so this is something that worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Well, is it something that they needed to try? And if it works, it could be a bonanza. Remains to be seen, And how much does the money trickle down to free up the NIL? Because that's where we're at.
Yeah, and the trickle down is really a big deal. Yeah. The other thing he said in there, and it was one of the few definitive things he said, and they're just starting the deal, so it is hard to say a lot of definitive stuff. Even though we all want definitive answers, it is hard to provide them. We get that. But when he said doing nothing was an option, he's in lockstep with the president there. Like the current the way business has been done the last 5, 10, or 15 years, that's not going to work for the next 5, 10, or 15 going forward.
Right.
Florida, and this is just one example that's in the headlines recently, when they redo the swamp, they're going to unlock a lot of value and make a lot of money, and they're going to take a quantum leap. But we already know about the media rights, and the Big 12's in a great position compared to a lot of leagues, and it's not in a great position compared to the Big 10 and the SEC. So everybody else is going to be going for it. You got to do something different. Now, whether this is the right or wrong thing to do, time will tell on that. Doing nothing when he said that wasn't an option, totally believe that. But the devil's in the details and the execution, and I'm sure there'll be missteps going forward. And we'll probably hear stories from disgruntled former employees, and stuff will be written or said or televised or whatever. Because doing something new, as you pointed out a million times, you're not going to hit it out of the park. Every day in every way. There's going to be some 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You just have to make sure it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or maybe 3 forward and 1 back, and not 2 backwards and 1 forward. And you start giving up ground.
And if they're making the playoff 3, 4 out of 5 years, then all's good.
Absolutely. Well, it's how much.
Then it's not.
How much money do you get, and how do you put it back in your programs and make them win? Simply making more money and not translating that into victories. So what? We get pro sports teams do that all the time. Yeah. And the owners, some owners keep score on that's their scoreboard. And they don't care so much about trophies and playoffs. Fans do big time.
That's what it's going to be about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right about the trickle-down impact. This may not be about NIL dollars, but freeing up the philanthropy he was talking about.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's all roads lead to Rome, and in this case, all dollars lead to NIL. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, U.S. Open Championship. We're talking with him at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
Welcome to
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
John Kurtz joins us. You can find his podcast, Open for Business, the Big 12 podcast, talking about the Sorsby trial. I don't think anybody expected him to be available to play next year, and now that looks exactly to be the case.
Texas Tech already had a lot of attention on them, but that has ratcheted up about tenfold now. And, I mean, you talk about being the villain. From a Big 12 perspective, Tech thumped everybody minus Arizona State last year, so you're tired of losing to them. So you've got fans in the conference with a ton of built-up animosity. And now you throw on top of that this situation with Brendan Sorsby. If they're going to have him playing quarterback, Texas Tech might as well line up. They should just dress as Darth Vader when they come out there. Forget the helmets, man. Get the Darth Vader mask and just wear those out on the field. Like, they are going to get more heat than any college football team that I can remember this year. People are going to be rooting very hard against them.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Keep your wellness routine going strong all summer. Kachava's new travel packs help you stick to your daily ritual even when you're on the go. Just one packet of Kachava's all-in-one nutrition shake provides complete nutrition wherever you are. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and more. Simplify your daily ritual. Go to Kachava.com and use code FITNESS for 15% off. That's KACHAVA.com, code FITNESS.
Time for another U.S. Open golf giveaway. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE will be assigned a golfer or the field in the U.S. Open Championship this week. If your golfer wins, you'll receive $300 in clubhouse credit, a Copper Rock golf course, and a $100 gas card. It's brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. Just had Mark Harlan, Utah Athletic Director, on, talked about the Otro Capital deal at length, Huntsman Center remodel, all kinds of stuff. And you asked him at the end about Sorsby, and they had a couple follow-up questions on that. And he said, you do have to examine some stuff that happened this week. And that was a very politically deft way of handling some of the questions.
It was balanced.
Yeah. That, you can't talk too much out of school. He's the AD, and he's going to be in a room, so he's got to be careful. Other people aren't ADs, don't have to be careful. At almost the same time, actually a little before that interview, John Wilner, a.k.a.
The Hammer?
Yes.
Did he lower the boom?
The Sorsby saga is, I think he said what Mark was saying, but he could say it more directly, and Mark has to, be careful.
He's got to walk the line.
Yeah, he's got to walk the line. The Sorsby saga is over for the Big 12, John Wilner posts. But Texas Tech's actions won't soon be forgotten, examining the ash and rubble from a brutal week in West Texas.
Well, I think that's true, yeah. I think that,
and I think that's what Mark was alluding to without saying it.
They went all in to win games, and nothing was going to stop them. But in fact, they were stopped. And the issue with Sorsby, Sorsby was the peg for a much bigger story. This could not be allowed, because then that just opens the floodgates to a level that we couldn't even possibly imagine. And that's just not going to happen. And I think Yormark knew he had the hammer, and he was waiting to see if Texas Tech would come to its senses. Mm-hmm. And they didn't. I was extremely confident that there was no way Sorsby was going to take the field. It just wasn't going to happen.
And the out was him going to I forget who we had on when we were talking about this, because we had people several days in a row, and the out was him going to the NFL, and that's what actually finally happened, even though it looked for a minute there like he'd passed that off-ramp. He doubled back and took it.
I think they were trying to wait out Texas Tech, and Texas Tech was digging its heels in deeper, and what they didn't know is they were digging their own grave deeper.
So there are multiple hot takes coming from fans to Wilner's post. You've got one guy, West Virginia Wings. So broken relationships within the conference. Texas Tech will try to get Brett Yormark removed. Yeah, well, Brett Yormark anticipates that. And Brett Yormark, those 3 rounds of meetings, first with the ADs to get ideas, then with the executive council to make sure, okay, is this our plan? And then you present it to all the presidents, get everybody to sign off on it. I think Brett's got himself covered there. Wouldn't you be surprised if there were any fallout? He just methodically, right down the line, that was textbook. I totally disagree with West Virginia.
The political world in which we live in, everyone's got these strong emotions and extreme feelings. Well, 15 people in terms of presidents, 15 people in terms of athletic directors, and these subcommittees and all that, they were all in unanimous agreement.
Yep.
And all of us were in unanimous agreement. It's nothing against Brendan Sorsby. I've been around gamblers, as I said. I hope that he gets this under control. Everyone wants the best for this young man. He's a 22-year-old young man with his life ahead of him. Who wants him to end up like Arch Schleister in and out of prison because of the gambling, and you get so swallowed up in it? Who felt good about the Pete Rose situation? Nobody did. No. Nobody. And that was in a full-blown adult doing it in his 40s and so forth. Sorsby, when he gets to that point, you want him married with kids and whatever he wants to do in life, if that's what he wants, and away he goes. And I hope he makes an NFL team if he's good enough. No one's denying that by any stretch. It couldn't be allowed. And I think the hammer is right. This is a bad look on Texas Tech. They were willing to violate the most sacred rule of sports to win football games. And that's a bad look on you people. And you're not these benevolent people that you're trying to portray yourself to help this young man, because the only way to help this young man is by playing football, so he's here. No one was buying that. You were trying to win games. He gave you the best chance because perceived, who knows, Hammond can come back and he could light it up and he could be first team all Big 12 this year. He has the potential to be really good. So it may be something that was totally stupid anyway, but you were telling us, we're trying to help him. You're trying to win games. That's what it did. And Cody Campbell, it's a bad look for Cody Campbell because he wanted to be a leader in reform, but he gave in to Texas Tech. That's where his loyalties lie. For the rest of his tenure as a spokesman, they self-appointed, by the way, that he will be viewed as, no, you're just trying to do what's in the best interest of Texas Tech so they can win games.
Bear Flag fan says I'd be surprised if Tech leadership, AD, president, head coach, survive more than a year, especially if they don't repeat as Big 12 champs. I can see some fallout where people move on. Relationships have been damaged. I'm totally with you on Cody Campbell. He didn't put Regents here, but he's the chair of the board of Regents. Yeah, like if that doesn't last very long, if people in Texas are like, well, this is a bad look. I can't have this guy. I mean, he can be super fan and fund NIL, but he can't be the head of the Regents.
He's like,
he came down on the wrong side of the issue.
A one in which has been since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And everyone is against. The whole world of college sports was against it. It was the whole world versus one.
Versus Texas Tech. Right. And I can't remember which writer said it, but I think we talked about it here too. It's like Sorsby there is the difference between Big worst case, 9 wins and 11 wins, and maybe 1 win, a conference title game, or 1 win in a playoff. It's like he's not the difference between 4-8 and 12-0. Like he's not going to have that kind of impact. The team's going to be pretty good. Hammond's supposed to come back at some point and be pretty good.
And I hope he does.
The Utes lost Rising the first year and had a decent backup and went 8-5. Mm-hmm. They didn't fall that far. Now it was the difference from 8-5 to the Rose Bowl and 10 wins. I think they were 10-4. So it's 10-4 to 8-5, and you missed the Pac-12 title game. That was for a couple of wins. That was it was crazy. They staked out that ground, Jason. What is probably just a couple of wins.
But even if it were for 12 wins, it's
still that they
right.
staked out that ground. Yeah. I get it. Right.
His ability should have been a non-factor, but it wasn't. And it would have been better if he was in the program and he played last year. But clearly you brought him in for $4 or $5 million, whatever it was, and with the idea of double down. As soon as on the field against, who was it, Oregon that shut him out in Miami, he said, we're going to double down. Yeah. Well, you did, and then you tripled and quadrupled it and so forth and so on at virtually at any cost, and nothing was going to get in your way until something did get in your way.
Here's one. Someone says, I'm just here looking for the what about Cincinnati post. And sure enough, I hope there's this much outrage towards Cincinnati. He actually played there. Tech will be fine.
Well, that's a Tech 10, I'm sure.
Yes. Kevin Keller, I give him credit for using his name, at Red Raider Keller.
Yeah.
So, yeah, predictably.
I mean, he has all sorts of bias.
And there's also blame the media, which is awesome considering over here there was more than 100 football teams and how many conferences lined up.
But that's the easy way out.
Journalists are so busy looking to bury Tech that most of you have missed the obvious facts. Sorsby sued for an injunction, not Tech. Tech legally had to comply. Tech clearly stated there was no plan to start Sorsby, citing his recovery. Within a week, Tech settled with him regarding NIL, and Sorsby split.
Go Tech.
That cleans up so much of the story so fast and ignores so many things that happen. That is spectacular.
Fans.
Yeah.
They're fans. And they want to win.
And the Big 12 had a lawsuit, and the lawyers didn't think they could win it.
You're right. You're trying to bring in logic with fandom. They want to win on Fridays and Saturdays, and then they want to win in December.
And they didn't sit quietly while they sorted this out. They staked out the ground.
And this is something that they think could potentially, plus it's their university, and it looks bad, and they're going to defend it. We saw it with the McMurphy thing with the assistant who was, spousal abuse? Was that what it was involved in all that stuff? And they're all coming after McMurphy because he had the story, and it was right, and they wanted to win. They're thinking anything gets in the way of winning, and that's the deal. Texas Tech has proven that they want to win at the highest level, no matter what the cost is.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, top of the hour, Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, U.S. Open Championship. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoux.
He is the president of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. Austin Ainge, kind enough to join us. Is there a point where you lock your board down and say, okay, we're all on the same page. Let's not overanalyze this. This is all what we're feeling, and let's just stick with it.
I think at some point after we get everybody in and spend our time with them, and that's kind of the final bit of information that we haven't been able to gather. And again, I don't want to overrate that and say that everything comes down to a few meetings with us. We'll just try to not lock it in until then, and then pretty shortly thereafter we'll kind of just say, all right, this is what we're going to do. These two, this is number one, this is number two. If one's there, we take them. If one's gone, we'll take two, and that's the way we'll do it.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, you can win tickets to see the legend, Rod Stewart. Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater, June 19th. Great seats still available at livenation.com. Listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day tomorrow for your chance to win.
Now, Mark Harlan said Ryan's team. I assume he meant the Jazz. He didn't mean BYU, did he?
And when he first said it, I took it as like, he's not really calling BYU Ryan's team, is he? And then
it's a Jazz.
And then I thought Jazz.
He's not going to do that.
No. I thought Jazz. I did go, I know why you said that. I thought that. But no, I thought it was Jazz. I thought the stuff he said about sponsorship. I've heard some stuff about them consolidating sponsorships at the Jazz. And as he got into his answer, it aligned with what I'd heard about how the Jazz have, and the Mammoth.
I thought I also alluded to it being downtown as well. So
yeah, there was later in the answer. I think there was a reference to that.
It was reference to the Jazz,
but it was
he wouldn't have said that.
It was they pivoted on having fewer, bigger, and decided to be more lucrative to have fewer sponsors that had a bigger investment.
Because everybody knows when it comes to BYU basketball, it's Danny's team.
See. And I think the whole thing about that, the knocking on doors, I was getting more at, it was sponsorship, but also selling the tickets. And how do you go out and interact with more people? But to his point about sponsorship, what he said aligns with what they did with sponsorships with the Jazz and the Mammoth. Have fewer of them and have bigger investments.
Who is it in football? Is it Steve's team? Is it Ty's team? Andy's team?
Kalani's team?
Lavelle's team? I think it's Lavelle's team.
Yeah, I'd go with that. Yeah.
Because Kalani is a protege.
Oh, yeah. Kalani's got memories from the 90s. Lavelle was still there, standing on the sideline, calling the shots. And Kalani, it doesn't take much for him to reference Lavelle. He doesn't do it every day. But if you get him on the right topic, yeah, Lavelle's influence, yeah.
Right. And that's cool. Fans love that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kyle Whittingham always talked about his 4 influences. And I think for Morgan, I guess it would be 3 for Morgan. And then for Kalani, Lavelle, and Kyle, he'd have 2. But maybe he'd go Gary Anderson. Maybe he'd go 3. I don't think I've heard him really spell it out. He references people now and then, but I don't think he's...
So for Kyle, it was his father, Lavelle Edwards, Ron McBride, and Joe Glenn?
You got 3 out of 4.
Cowboy Joe.
I think it was Urban Meyer, not Joe Glenn.
Oh.
But thanks for the Joe Glenn reference. Hey, you got to be held accountable.
The early days.
Kyle.
Those one-fingered salutes, man.
Perhaps that needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, if you're speaking to the students on a Tuesday in the student union, it's okay.
It is. We're going out there and win. Okay, this is Tuesday. Kyle, meanwhile, get the onside kick ready. He's going to pay.
Wait, you can't just say something, man. You got to be held accountable for your words.
And then Joe's over there giving him the bird. And then he gets asked about a postgame. No, I didn't. It was on TV. They got replays and everything. Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, but you're in the moment.
Yeah, they were in the moment. I totally get that. That's why it's just funny now.
It?
It's neither. No, that's not the right kind of moment. That was 2 guys who generally have pretty good reps and all that. Just got a little fired up in the moment. It happens.
Yeah.
And they did come clean a few days later.
Well, within 24 hours.
Oh, 24 hours,
Kyle
okay.
had made
amends. Sorry about that. It was a little over the top there. Got away from me right there.
No one was hurt.
Who hasn't had the fastball get away from him? The old slider bounces in the dirt in front of home plate. It happens every now and then.
Yeah, that was funny. But I just wanted to make sure because I thought that there's no way he's going to take a cheap shot at BYU. Because actually, I think Mark Harlan has a fair amount of respect for BYU because when he came in, Utah was on top.
Yeah.
The other people fought, not that they didn't have respect for BYU, but the prior administrations across the board were the little brother. Because BYU was the king.
And had to scrap and battle to to get on top.
Right.
Yeah.
And they got there. And then when Mark had come in, I was going to say the Eagle's flying, but the Ute flag was flying much higher in an enormous way. And now it's leveled out to a degree. And we're speaking football, obviously in basketball, the Utes got to get it going. And that's going to be interesting to see, what an arena does and what this private equity does for basketball, because so much of the emphasis is on football, and basketball has been in a slump now for a good while. And can they recover? I'm not sure they can recover to the level of Rick Majerus, but I don't rule anything out in sports because crazy things happen, and I don't know that necessarily a new arena or a remodeled arena is the answer. I think the answer is NIL.
Yes. Chicken and the egg time right there.
Yeah.
You need the NIL to get the players to fill the arena.
Right.
To get people to pay top dollar to be in the arena in these premium spaces. But you need the premium spaces to create the money to have the NIL. And so you're right. It is chicken and egg. And where do you break through? And maybe you just try to do it all at once and build a plane while you fly it, which is not what people want to hear. And yet, here you are. How else would you do it?
Yeah, well, let's for Utah basketball, let's get them to 500 in the league, which
that's an NCAA tournament team.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, and that needs to be the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Get to 500 in the league. Are they going to go back to, is it 20 this year or next year? So find a way to get 10 league wins in a difficult league, and then at that point, you've made significant progress, and then you have that opportunity to make that next jump. Well, until you get to that point, anything beyond that point is a waste of time. Don't even bother talking about it. And so they're going to need the money because what they don't want to have happen is turn themselves into a higher level UVU. Now, UVU has done a masterful job of being in that position, reloading against its level of competition. But trying to do that in the Big 12 is far more difficult. And so they don't want guys. And they've had that. Who was the kid last year who took off? Who was doing all the scoring? What was his name? Smith?
It's always somebody. I mean, that's what the last few years have been.
No,
Kata a couple of years ago went off to BYU.
The kid who did most of the scoring last year. And then he takes off. And so we saw that with like New Mexico. They became Devin Dampier. Yeah, I'm going to take it to the higher level and play in better competition and get more cash. Well, everyone's going to say yes to that. So they can't afford to do that. When you look at BYU, the last 2 years under KY, help me if I'm wrong here, but I think most of the kids who left didn't go to a bigger program where they're starring there. Like Devin Dampier starred for Utah last year after coming over from New Mexico. Most of the kids who leave BYU, it's a lateral move at best.
Were you talking about Keanu Dawes?
No.
12-9? Then you're talking about Terrence Brown.
Brown, that's what I knew it was the obvious, a common name. I thought it was Smith. I was thinking of Terrence Smith.
And he was just a shade under 20 points a game.
Right.
Yeah. And he was a junior. He's got a year left. But
yeah. And Dawes goes to Kansas, right? I get it, because you want to have an opportunity to win.
But there, you had three guys averaging double figures, and there's two of them.
Yeah.
Gone.
Right. Yeah. And so you can't keep starting over every single year.
Right. And the third one was a senior, so they are starting over. There you go. Yeah. All right. Coming up next, Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, U.S. Open Championship, Shinnecock. We will talk with Brian next. Get the lowdown. Stay with us.
The grill is shot. The chairs are held together by optimism. And what happened to the rug? Sounds like your outdoor setup is not ready for patio season. Fix it all with Wayfair. Shop Wayfair for grills, rugs, furniture, and more. With 20 million 5-star reviews, room of choice delivery, and expert setup on qualifying orders, it's never been easier to do more for less. Get 10% off your first eligible purchase. Hurry to wayfair.com or download the app now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains June 5th through the 11th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.